Hey guys, welcome to Yoga Lattes with SJ and to this 30-minute full body workout. So today we're going to be using weights. So you can either use some dumbbells, some wrist or hand weights, maybe some ankle weights, but if you don't have any, that's okay as well. So we're going to start by just placing the weights to one side and we are going to warm up. So we're just stepping out to one side and then coming to the other side, and you've got the palms facing forward. You're bringing the elbows in towards the waist and shoulders are relaxed and keeping this going. So starting to find a deeper breath, you might want to move a little bit faster, just starting to get the heart rate up a little bit and just keeping the jaw relaxed, seeing if you can find maybe even a bigger step out to the side each time that you go, softness into the knees. Now we're staying here and you're starting to press one palm out to the opposite side and then the other. So as you continue with this, you are just keeping the hips really square to the side edge of your mat and your shoulders are down and away from the ears. You're not locking out through the elbow. So you're really using the power through the arm, the shoulder, and just finding that press out and then coming back through center. Also engaging into the core. So you're closing the ribs, keeping the belly button back towards the spine, letting the head go in the same direction that the hand is moving. So you're just finding softness into the side of the neck. Nice. Let's stay here, guys, and coming back through center. And you're just starting to come up high onto the balls of the feet and you're bringing the arms up overhead and then dropping the elbows down to the side waist. Spreading wide through the fingers and then we are staying here. You're just going to start to bring the arms forward and then you're pressing the palms to the back wall as you start to bend through one knee, coming over to that side and then coming over to the other side. So as you continue here, just making sure that the knee is not going forward of the toes. So it's almost as though you are pressing the tailbone back towards the back wall. So you're keeping the spine in the same line, the head is in the same line as the rest of the back. And then we are starting to continue with this, but you're starting to bring the arms out to the sides, palms facing down, shoulders away from the ears, and you are starting to sweep the arms up and bring the arms back through center and continuing with this. So just making sure that you've got that core engaged the whole time, you're not locking out through either knee, and you are just finding a softness into those knees. You're also not locking out into those elbows. This time we're going to start to bring both arms over to one side as the gaze comes over to that side and then coming over to the other side as you rock the hips from side to side. So the hips are rocking to the same side as what the arms are going, and then you're coming back through the center and coming to the other side. Continuing here, softness into those knees and finding a flow here with this. You've got softness into the elbows, letting the fingers relax, the wrists, the hands, finding a connection here into the side waist as well, into the obliques. The core is engaged the whole time, shoulders are relaxed, and then circling the arms all the way up and around, and then coming up and around to the other side, and then going to the other side. So just doing a few of these, we are bumping the hips over to the side that the arms are coming to, and then back through center, and then reversing, going back the other way. Awesome, coming back through center, and you are just taking a little bit of movement here into the hips, and then you're starting to step the feet out. Toes are turned out, heels are slightly turned in. Bring the hands onto the hips. We're just starting to place your weight into one foot as you lift the other foot up, and then placing that foot down, coming down into a little squat, and then coming to the other side. As you continue with this, I want you to make sure that your core is engaged the whole time. You have a neutral pelvis, so the tailbone is lengthening down and back slightly. You've got a lift up through the pelvic floor as you lift up through that center line, and making sure those knees are not going forward of the toes. You are letting the knees track in the same line as the feet. Shoulders are relaxed and you are breathing. Nice work. Coming back through center, let's stay here. And then bringing the arms to be down by your sides, palms facing forward. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale. As you start to hinge forward at the hips, finding a flat back and then drawing the hands together in prayer and pressing the hips forward as you come out through standing. Inhale, sweeping the arms forward. Exhale, arms come out wide, and you are finding that flat back, lengthening here, using your core to draw you all the way back up through center. Keeping this going, so as you bring the arms up, finding that length from the top of the head all the way out the tailbone, and then you are using your core muscles to draw you all the way back up through center, keeping that engagement of the core as you lengthen the arms up, and then you are finding that flat back again, tailbone lengthens to the back wall. So it really is just a hinge from the hips here. The hips are coming straight back, and then you are pressing those hips forward to draw you up back through standing, and then releasing the arms down, palms facing forward, spreading wide through the fingers. Inhale as you sweep the arms. Exhale, coming down into your flat back, finding that beautiful lengthening up all the way up through the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, the ab muscles, the ribs are closed. You've got length from the top of the head all the way out the tailbone, so you are not finding that the head is lifting up so much or tucking down. You've got that same line all the way through the spine. Beautiful. And then coming all the way up and staying here. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale as you press the arms out, finding that flat back, and then drawing the palms together as you start to come up through standing. Palms facing forward. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, looking up. Exhale, pressing those palms out to the sides, finding that flat back, and then palms come together, drawing all the way up as you press the hips forward. And then let's stay here. So you're just starting to bring the arms out into a T shape. And then you are sweeping the right arm down and under to that left side, and then coming back to your T, and then doing the same thing on the other side. So the palm is facing up and shoulders are down and away from the ears. You can softly bend into the knees. So just finding what feels good here. Just making sure you're not locking out through those knee joints, and then we are coming all the way back through center, and you're just starting to have the palms facing down. You're sweeping the arms all the way out and around, and then drawing the elbows back into the side waist, and continuing with this. So as you do this, just spreading wide through those fingers, really feeling space between each finger, and finding a nice stretch into the hands. You are using the back of the arms, the tricep muscles to draw back in, and you're using the chest muscles to kind of hug around. Nice. And then let's stay here. You're starting to bring the arms up overhead. Your toes are pointing forward, and you are starting to press the hips back towards the back wall as you come over to one side, bending through the knee, and then coming back through center, and then coming to the other side as you bend through that opposite knee. So as you continue with this, I just want you to make sure that that knee is not going forward of the toes. And then we're coming over to the left side. You're staying here, and you are just drawing the arms forward, and then you are squeezing back in, and then drawing those hands forward again. So just making sure that you have got the hips square to the back wall. You are engaging into your core. You've got a neutral pelvis, and then let's come to the other side, coming over to that right side and finding length through that left side, the outer thigh, the outside of the hip. You are pressing forward and pressing back, using your core to do this. So making sure that your head is in the same line as the rest of the back. You're not bringing any tension into the neck, and using your core to draw forward and draw back. Let's stay here, and then you're starting to bring the hands to the inside of the feet, and you're reaching one arm up as you gaze up towards the hand, and then shifting to the other side and sweeping the other arm up. So you're softly bending into the knee that you are coming to, and then you are coming back through center and coming to the other side. Finding a beautiful stretch through the side waist here. At the same time, you've got length out the tailbone, and you are keeping your core softly engaged, coming back through center, and then heel toe the feet all the way back through center, just coming to about hip distance apart. And then we are taking a moment here just to find a neutral through center, so making sure that your weight is even through both feet. And then heel toe the feet all the way in together, softly bending into the knees, and then you're rolling the spine, coming all the way back up to standing, releasing the shoulders down and away from the ears. And then let's grab hold of our weights. So if you have some ankle weights, you might like to put those on now. Otherwise, you might want to pop on any other weights that you have, or just grab any of your hand weights that you want to use. So now that we've warmed up the body, we are going to start to add resistance in. If you don't have weights, that's absolutely fine. You can always continue on without them, and this will also be a great body weight strengthening as well. So that's all good. You don't need to use weights, particularly if you have only just started your training. So we're going to start by just coming to a standing, stepping your feet out to about shoulder distance or hip distance apart. And then we are going to start to punch the right arm out and over to the left, and then drawing the arm back in, elbow down, and then you are doing a shoulder press up, dropping that elbow, and then pressing back across the body, palm facing down. So keeping this going, as you do so, you are finding your mind coming to the muscles we're working, so into the shoulder, into the arm muscles, and keeping your core engaged. Ribs are closed. The rest of the body is staying really, really still and stable. And then this time we're going to start to add in the knee lift. So just starting to draw the left knee up as you come up to that shoulder press, placing the foot back down as you press across the body. Nice, and continuing here. So only lifting the leg as high as what you feel to, and you can find some balance, and you can really feel that you are using that right foot to support this, to find that lengthening up, and then lowering down with control and pressing across the body. Keeping your core engaged the whole time. Everything else is staying still here. The hips are square to the side edge of your mat, and then let's come across to the other side. So rolling the shoulders all the way up and releasing the shoulders down, and let's start to do that little punch across the body, left side, and then pressing up to your shoulder press. Not gripping too tightly onto your weight here, so just softness into the hand and into the fingers, keeping your jaw soft and relaxed, and everything is staying really, really still. Your core is engaged to keep this stable. You've got softness into the knees, and you are using the shoulder muscle and the arm muscle, and not locking out through the elbow too when you do that punch across. Nice. Let's bring the knee lift into this. So as you come up into that shoulder press, you're lifting the right knee up, using your core, and then lowering the foot back down as you start to press across the body. Beautiful work. Keep this going. So good. We're getting stronger and we are getting fitter. This is so, so good for the whole body. 30 minutes and everything is in this. We're getting mobility, we're getting strength, we are getting stronger bones, stronger muscles, and even a little bit of cardio with this as well with the movement. Nice. Let's just stay here, and we are starting to bring the hands to come to the shoulders, palms facing forward, and then you are pressing one hand down and then drawing it back up, and then the other. So you're crossing the body as you do that little press down, and the palm is facing in toward you, and then coming back up as you start to bring the palm to face outward again. Keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears, and you are not locking out through the elbow as you press down, and we are staying here. Now your palms are facing to the back wall, and you're bending through one knee as you bring the arms forward, and then you are pressing all the way back up through center as you press the back of those arms to the back wall, and coming to the other side. So continuing with this, the hips are going straight back, and then they are pressing forward to draw you back up through standing, keeping your weight kind of even through that center line as you do this. So even though you're bending through one knee, your weight is even through the center, so it really is still a press of the hips back and then press of the hips forward again, keeping the top of the head, the back of the neck, the rest of the back in that same line. Shoulders are away from the ears, not locking out through the elbows. Now we're continuing with this, but this time we're doing a little hammer curl. So you're just starting to keep the elbows locked in close and palms facing inward, and you are bending through the elbows as you bend through the knee, and then you are straightening the arms back as you come back up through center. Using your core, the inner thighs as well as everything else to find this power here as you draw up through center. Now you're starting to find a bicep curl, so palms are facing upward and the elbows are staying in close, continuing with that bend of the knee on one side as you press the hips back, and then drawing back up through center, and then coming to the other side, really squeezing into those bicep muscles, not locking out through the elbows as you come up through center. So you're just finding softness into the elbow joints, and we are finding a really nice strengthening here into those arms. Shoulders are relaxed, nice. Coming back through center, and then you are rolling all the way down, coming to a forward fold, and just maybe moving a little bit here into the head and neck. Anything at all that feels good. You might bump the pelvis from side to side, maybe nodding the head yes, shaking the head no, and then coming all the way down to a tabletop position. Starting to lengthen the right leg back, and then you are starting to cross the toes over to that left side, and then coming back through center, drawing the knee in towards the heart center, and then lengthening the leg back out, and then crossing the toes over to that left side, and then coming back through center, drawing the knee back in, keeping your core engaged the whole time, making sure that you've got length through the neck, so the gaze is either straight down or slightly forward, and your core is engaged the whole time, using your core muscles to draw the knee in and maintaining that connection of core as you press the leg back out, and crossing those toes across the body, keeping the hips really still, the pelvis is still. You are not locking out through the elbows here, and then coming back down and staying here. And finding that beautiful tabletop position here, pressing the shoulders towards the mat, and then we're starting to lengthen the left leg long and doing the same thing on the left side. So you are drawing the knee in and then lengthening the leg out, and then crossing the toes across to that right side, and coming back through center, drawing that knee in. So continuing with this, seeing if you can keep the pelvis really still. Everything is staying still. It's only the leg that's moving. You're working into the glute muscle, the hamstring, the back of the leg. Beautiful work. The core is also working here to keep this really still and stable. And you've got softness into those elbows. Beautiful work coming back through center, staying here. Just rounding the spine, chin to chest as you tuck the tailbone. Sitting back towards the heels, lengthening the arms forward. And then you are drawing the hips forward again to come back to your neutral again, to your tabletop position. Then tucking the tailbone and tucking the chin down towards the chest, sitting back towards the heels, and then keeping the chin tucked down as you roll the spine, coming all the way up to a high kneeling position. Palms facing forward, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, bringing the arms up overhead, and then exhale as you start to step the left foot forward. Arms come down by your sides. You can bring your hands onto your hips if you want to here, and then we're reaching the arms up overhead, and then you are framing that front foot, and then bringing the knee back and pressing the hips back towards the heels as you come all the way through, drawing back up to your high kneeling, reaching the arms up overhead, shoulders away from the ears, stepping that right foot forward this time, finding length here, shoulders coming all the way down the back, and then you're floating the arms down and framing the front foot, and then you are bringing that knee back through center, and then sitting back towards the heels, and then rolling the spine, coming all the way back up to your high kneeling. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead, palms facing inward, and then exhale, stepping the left foot forward, making sure the knee is not going forward of the toes, And then you're starting to bring the arms out into a T shape, and you are facing towards that left side, and then reaching the arms back up overhead as you come back up through center, and then opening out to that side, and then coming back through center. Continuing with this, so just flowing freely, and then when you come back through center, you're just floating the arms back down, and then coming all the way back, finding length here as you sit back towards the heels, and then inhale as you round the spine, coming back up through center, reaching the arms up overhead, palms facing inward, shoulders relaxing down, and your right foot steps forward, finding space here for the pelvis, the front side of those hips, and then you're bringing the arms out to the sides, making that T shape, gazing over to that right side, and then coming back up through center, closing the ribs, keeping your core engaged, length through the low back, and then we are opening out to the side again, and then drawing back through center, and then floating the arms all the way back down, and then releasing the knee back to your starting again, and coming all the way back up and taking a seat. Taking a moment here just to grab hold of any hand weights that you might have, and bringing them to your side so they're easy to grab. So we're just starting to roll all the way down, rolling the spine vertebra by vertebra, coming down onto your back, bringing the arches of the feet together, the knees are together, finding a neutral pelvis. So just letting the tailbone relax down, and then you're lengthening the right leg up, toes pointing up, and then bending through the knee, and then placing the foot back down, and then drawing the left knee in, lengthening the toes up, and then bending the knee again as you start to bring the foot back down. Continuing with this, so you've got the toes slightly turned out so that you've got a little bit of openness through the hip here, and you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, bending through that knee, and then slowly with control lowering the foot back down onto the mat. So you're really needing to keep your core engaged the whole time to continue here with this. We're not bringing any stress into the low back. So just working at your own range here. You don't need to have a super straight leg with this at all. And we also just don't need to be drawing the knee right in. That's okay if it doesn't come right in. It's more just finding that engagement of core, belly buttons coming back towards the spine, the back of the shoulders are relaxed. You've got length through the back of the neck. Now you are staying here, you're bringing the legs into a tabletop position, and then you are starting to lengthen one leg up as you bring the heel of the opposite leg to come towards the glute, and then switching sides. So it's just a lengthening up and a dropping down of the opposite heel, finding a beautiful line all the way from the hip all the way out the toes. And you are keeping a neutral pelvis here. You are keeping your core engaged and keeping the legs glued together the whole time, closing those ribs. The back of the shoulders are relaxed down. You are working into the low abs, as well as really finding a connection here into the back of the legs and also the front of the legs. Nice. Let's start to just lengthen both legs up, and then you are dropping the heels towards the pelvis as you draw the knees in towards the heart center, and then letting the legs come back through tabletop, and then lengthening those legs all the way back up towards the ceiling, making sure that you are using your core muscles to really engage here, to draw those knees in, and then as you lengthen the legs up, you are finding that connection of core to find that lift and lower. So lengthening the tailbone down towards the end of your mat. You're not lifting the pelvis up too high, so it's really just using your core muscles to lift up, and then bending the knees and drawing those knees in towards the heart center, keeping that belly button back towards the spine, keeping the back of those shoulders relaxed down, gluing the legs together, lifting up, and keeping that engagement of core as you start to bend through the knees. Well done. Take a break. Just starting to bend the knees, letting the back of the heels drop towards the pelvis. Any kind of movement here that feels good. It might be a rock of the knees from side to side, It might be something else. Just taking a moment here, and then you're starting to bring the feet all the way down onto your mat, and you are taking your weights. We're going to start to reach the arms up towards the knees, lifting the head and shoulders up as you start to find a little lift up, and then lowering all the way back down, and then bringing the weights to come just in line with the top of your head. So bending through those elbows as you come down, and then lengthening back up, lifting, and then lowering back down with control. So as you continue with this, I really want you to make sure that you have got your core engaged the whole time, not letting that go, keeping control of those ab muscles as you lift up, as well as when you're coming down. You're keeping your elbows in quite close to each other, and you've got your weights together, and you are finding a little skull crusher here as you start to just bend through those elbows, letting the weights come to either sort of the forehead or slightly above the head. And then we are releasing here, staying here guys, and bringing the left arm down, palm facing up or down, and then you are starting to lift the head and shoulders up as you press the weight over to that left side, so your right arm crosses the body. And then as you start to lower the head and shoulders back down, you are just bending the elbow, palm facing upwards. You're kind of finding a little opening here through the heart center as you come down, and then lifting up and crossing across the body, using your core muscles, using those oblique muscles. So it's a very small lift up, lower down, making sure there's a bit of space between the chin and the chest. Now we're going to add a bicep curl to this. So next time you come down, you're finding a bicep curl through that left side, and then you are lowering back down and coming back up, crossing the body, and then we are finding that bicep curl. Continuing here, so keeping the elbow in nice and close and squeezing into that bicep, drawing and maintaining that connection of the muscle as you start to straighten the arm back out, and lifting and crossing over, making sure you're only coming up as high as what you can really maintain that connection of core without bringing any tension into the neck. Let's come straight across to the other side. So you're bringing the right arm down by your side, and you are finding a little cactus of the left arm, and then you are lifting the head and shoulders up as you start to cross the arm across to that right side, and then lowering back down with control, softness into the elbow, opening up through that left side of the shoulder, and lifting up, engaging the core, and lowering back down, controlling the movement here, keeping the neck nice and lengthened, so you're not lifting the chin and you aren't sort of letting the head come back too far. You're keeping a really nice long line through the back of the neck. Let's bring the bicep curl into it this time. So next time you come down, you're finding that bicep curl through that right side, and then finishing the curl, lifting the head and shoulders up, and starting to cross the body, pressing the weight over to that right side. Beautiful work, you guys. We are getting closer to the end of the workout, so give it your all. Just working to control the movement here. We don't need to move fast. Just coming up as high as what you can. Keep that connection through the core, through the obliques, the side waist. Ribs are closed, shoulders are relaxed. You are breathing, keeping that neutral pelvis. Squeezing that bicep in, maintaining that connection as you release the arm back down. And then let's stay here, you guys. We're just starting to bring the arms down, just releasing those weights. Just any movement here that feels good. Then we're starting to just bring the left leg long, and then you are sweeping the leg all the way up, and then bending the knee and lengthening the leg long again, and sweeping the leg all the way up. So keeping this going. As you do this, I really want you to make sure that the pelvis is not moving around. You've got your core engaged the whole time. You are keeping everything really still, and then we are going back the other way. So next time the leg goes up, you're starting to lower the leg down with control, drawing the knee in, and then lengthening the toes back up towards the ceiling, and keeping this going. And again, keeping that core engaged the whole time. Ribs are closed. Using your core to guide this. We are full rotation, some mobility into the hip as well as strengthening. Nice, and then placing the foot back down. Let's come straight to the other side, bending the right knee and lengthening the leg, and then sweeping the leg all the way up, bending the knee, and then lengthening the toes out towards the end of your mat, and keeping this going. You might want to place your hands onto the belly or onto the hips just to really notice that connection of core the whole time, making sure that you are connecting. You shouldn't be able to feel any tension into the low back, so just working at your own range here. It doesn't have to be a really big kind of circle with this. You can keep it really small. It's more about connecting into the core. We want to get into those ab muscles nice, and then let's reverse this. So next time you lengthen the leg up, you are lowering the leg down with control, drawing the knee in, pointing the toes up, and keeping that length out the hip as you start to lower the leg down, and then drawing the knee back and using your core. Beautiful work, you guys. You're hugging that right knee in and then the left, and any kind of movement at all that feels good with this. Maybe letting the knees fall out to the sides, maybe closing the knees back in and opening the knees out, letting the back of the heels relax towards the pelvis. Maybe a bit of movement through the feet and the toes, and then you're just starting to straighten the arms, holding on to the front side of the knees, just finding a nice opening out of the knees, and then drawing the knees all the way back in as you draw the knees towards the heart center and circling all the way around in one direction. So just lengthening the tailbone towards the end of the mat, just letting the pelvis be heavy, allowing the tummy muscles to relax down, feet are relaxed, just taking some really deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth, and then just starting to circle back the other way when you're ready, reversing this, just letting the hips relax, the outer thighs, inner thighs, back of the shoulders, and just starting to circle the knees all the way around in one direction and then the other. And then we are taking hold of the right knee, just drawing that right knee all the way in as you lengthen the left leg out, flexing the toes towards the face, and any kind of movement here into that left foot, maybe pointing the toes, flexing the foot back, keeping that knee pulled in, taking a deep breath in here, full breath out, maybe circling the ankle of that left leg, and then going to the other side. So you're starting to hug the left knee in as you lengthen the right leg up, and finding that movement into the foot, maybe starting to wiggle the toes, flexing the toes back, pressing the heel up, finding length here, and then you are all done, you guys. You can bring the knees in towards the heart center, maybe hugging those knees in one more time, and then you might just take a really, really big stretch, reaching the arms and legs long, and maybe a little wiggle through the pelvis, spreading wide through the fingers, and releasing here. You can stay here and rest for as long as you like before going about the rest of your day. It was amazing to have you join me. I can't wait to see you again soon. Have the best rest of your day.